Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bookmarked. You should write a book. This is a workshop for how to get started on the book publishing journey. And also, it's that phrase, you should write a book. You know, you always hear that phrase. I'm sure you hear the phrase all the time. And you always wonder, maybe now's the time to start writing my book. Well, here it is. Now's the time with me. My name's Nena. I am the founder of the Nominate Group, and I am so happy to have you here and have us learn together about some items of publishing that I think are so fun and so fascinating. So here I am. I've been in the business for almost 20 years, and my whole passion in life is to help authors sell and understand that they're selling their books every day. I'm obsessed with books and the written word. And with my literary and management company, the Nominate Group, I'm able to really help all authors of all shapes, sizes, types, genres, get their books and their written word connected to the right audience, and then obviously publishing their book. So I love hearing the word and the phrase, you should write a book. Well, again, now's the time to do that. And so I'm thrilled that you're here, and I'm going to show you a lot of tips and tricks and tools as we go through this process. You know, you can call me your Sherpa. I like that word, the Sherpa, because actually I'm a little more, maybe I'm a little more intense. I'm an intense Sherpa, but I really, really love helping people start writing in the writing process. So the other thing is I'm paid to share my opinions. So I'm happy to share my opinions every day. And I love teaching other people that their opinion matters and their books matter. And, you know, I really, I'm thrilled to walk through this process and walk you through a few of my blueprint items, as I call them. And so, you know, even if you're just typing away on your computer, you know, you still need to kind of start putting those ideas together. So me as a Sherpa, I help you get those organized. You know, again, who is this workshop for? This is for you. But if you know, don't think you're a writer, you should listen to this, because everyone writes and you actually should write. It's almost like riding a bike or exercising, and you have to do it every day. You have to work on your craft. And I think it's such a creative outlet for people to do, to be writing. So it's something that, you know, putting your ideas and your thoughts into a book, into a manuscript, is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it's really not for the faint at heart, but I do believe everyone should do it. So if you have a complete manuscript, if you haven't just an idea in your head, if it's, you know, you've got this children's concept that you're working on, a children's book concept, you know, or you're a business owner and you really want to help other people be more productive, you know, this will help you see it from a different perspective. And I even think, even if you love the writing process, I love helping people shake it up. So this will enhance your writing. You know, this is the time for you to get clear. And I believe that books stand the test of time. They will be here long after we're gone. And because they're so global, you know, it's so fun to see a book come to life. And it is not easy to do, but it's so extraordinary to watch it happen. And, you know, the publishing business is the most elite, prestigious, the most talented, smartest people in the world work in the industry. I'm honored to even be a part of it, because to even walk with authors on the journey of, you know, on their publishing journey is incredible. And to watch these smart people work together is just incredible. Anyway, but it's also very contradictory and ambiguous and confusing. So what better way to have Bookmarked and the Nominate Group help you through this? So, I'm going to share 3 important items, like I've been talking about and saying and teasing. But first, I want to talk about some fun facts of publishing today. Did you know? These are 3 things. I actually have a lot of fun facts. So if you want more, just let me know. I can share them all day long. But these are the 3 that I've distilled in this time with us today. Did you know there's more than one way to publish? Yes, there's more than one way to publish. We all hear traditional publishing, right? You can write a query, you find an agent, you sell the book to a publisher, you then get an editor, and you work with an incredible marketing and publicity team, and you launch your book within 1 to 2 years. I wouldn't recommend doing it any earlier than 1 to 2 years. Well, that's one way. That's traditional. But there's, with technology and social media, you may have a publisher that lives next door to you. You never know. And that person may change your life and change your idea's life. So I feel like, there's a few other ways. I call them the many faces of publishing. Yes, the traditional. There's also hybrid, where you're working alongside that team and you have a little more leeway with the process. And there's independent presses and independent houses. All of these amazing executives that I'm talking about have started these amazing shops. So just kind of do some research and look around of other ways. Again, LinkedIn is a great example of how many people are publishing. I'm so amazed, even in the last 5 years, how many authors can get published and get published well. So, and then you also have KDP through Amazon and Ingram Spark, which are great options. I'm so impressed when people look outside the other ways of publishing. And obviously traditional is one way to do it, but it's really extraordinary to see that there are, so many amazing ways to have access to books. And so to just think of one way to do it may not be the best. I think expanding your options to what's right for you and what's right for your title. I think that's what's really important to look at. So there are many ways to publish a book, not just one. My next little fun fact for you is you don't have to be a bestseller to sell your best. So this is where we talk about the B word. And I often think this is funny because the moment you tell an author about bestseller list, best-selling, book, you are a best-selling author, their whole mindset changes. So sometimes I don't like to use the B word, but the B word's very fun. Obviously, bestseller. Who doesn't want to be a bestseller? And guess what? You actually can be a bestseller when you sell your best. So that means you've got to be consistent. I do think there's a consistency of, being able to sell a certain amount of copies every week. This is obviously down the road after your book idea is ready with a publisher or ready to go tomorrow. But I do think a goal is yes, always think about being a bestseller, but think about your platform, think about how you're communicating. We'll get to your audience and really defining your audience. If you think you can sell 1 million copies, I think that's great. Let's make that a goal of 1 million copies, maybe stagger it. If you don't have a platform, that's going to be harder to get to 1 million copies. It may take longer than expected, but just set little milestones for yourself. I think it's always important to, of course, be a bestseller. How cool is that? Everyone can be a bestseller if you really think about it. Just like how everyone can write a book, everyone can be a bestseller. But it's the way you think about being a bestseller. And it's 3 things: the frequency, the consistency, and the velocity of the sales. So being very clear on how to sell, setting a goal, and establishing that goal, figuring out how you're actually going to sell those copies, and get the word out to your audience and achieve it. So I do think you can become a bestseller, and there's many different ways to do that. And it's kind of fun to play the game of becoming a bestseller. But again, my whole thing is sell your best. Okay. Fun fact number 3, the book process takes time. So take your time. A lot of authors will think, I got to get this book out today. Today is the day. The book has to come out in the next quarter because, St. Patrick's Day is on its way, or whatever holiday is coming up, and you want to be able to be a part of the movement. I just think take your time, set some goals, set some options up for yourself. If you think the project's going to take 3 weeks, it's probably going to take double that. So imagine a book process, really takes a year. It's okay that it takes a year because the book actually has a life of its own. Once it comes out, you can watch it grow. So really be mindful that when you watch it grow, it kind of is like a fast moving train, and you really want to be able to watch it grow instead of let it run by right past you. So a lot of times it's the way, the process, it's the process to make a baby, a lot of people say. So 9 to 12 months is the process of a book publishing time. it could take longer. Also, like, you have to write it. So again, overnight successes are very popular and can happen, but really build in your project, build enough time to breathe and let it work through itself. And also, be open that it's going to take longer than you think. So when you're setting a publication date, don't set it for tomorrow. Kind of think about, like, what am I doing in the next 5 months? How am I going to be able to manage my full-time job and how being an author and trying to publish the book? It's a lot. It's like another vertical of your business, or again, another concept. Even if you write full time, it's still like a lot of work. So really be mindful of that and allot time for that. I could talk about this a lot, clearly. So, again, it all starts with the written word. You need to start somewhere. And I truly believe that publishing is an art and a science. And I like teaching the art. The science is fun too. Who doesn't love both? Both worlds, both minds. It is like kind of a love affair and sometimes a hatred. So just be mindful that, like, it's a roller coaster. It's an emotional roller coaster. There's this great Winston Churchill quote that is really wonderful. I'll email it to you because it's one of my favorite quotes ever, because it is kind of like this tyrant. It's a mistress. It's a love affair, but it's also kind of something that you just throw it out and fling it to the public. But that's Winston Churchill. That's not you. But still, I'll share it with you because it's a great quote. So my point is that it's fun to go through the process, and I want to be able to share the blueprint with you now. It's 3 points. I have a lot of tenets within my blueprint, but this is the top 3 that I believe, again, full manuscript or just an idea in your head. Get really clear on these 3 things that I'm going to share with you. Start fresh. I think workshopping these ideas are really great. So my first one that I like to talk about is defining your audience. This is an exercise that I'll also include into a workbook that you'll receive after taking this course. Thank you so much for joining us or being a part of the course. So it's really defining your audience. A lot of authors think that their audience, well, this book is for everybody. Well, of course it's for everybody, because everybody will read your book. Let's get really kind of baby step on this. Let's think of one person that you want to change. Define that person. Is it someone, what do they do every day? Do they work? Are they a student? If you're writing a YA novel, are they sitting at their desk? Do they need consoling? Kind of like put yourself into the audience member, that one person, not the big audience, the one person that you're writing to. Really write to that one person. And, think about how you're going to solve their problem. What are you going to be tackling for them? Clearly define this person as, what they eat in the morning. I mean, honestly, you can make this exercise as deep as you want it to be. It's also kind of like where you see yourself talking with them. It's almost like a one-on-one conversation. So you're trying to help someone, you're trying to inspire them, you're trying to entertain them. So it's one person. Think about that person. And how are they going to pay $26 plus shipping for your book? So really think about that too. I said $26. The book could be $10. The book could be $30. Whatever the price point is, be thoughtful about that one person that's going to buy your book, that you will change their life with your idea. So talk about who that person is. So you're writing to her, him. Imagine how they're going to be impacted by your book. And as you're writing, you can be clear with that and go through it. And I even think if you've written your manuscript already, write with that lens, and you will see how the book will change if you're writing to that one person instead of 3 different audiences or, the world, because the world is pretty big. The next thing I love, this is my favorite one, and it kind of takes some unpacking. It's called authorisms. It's basically lessons, right? Just think about in a moment all the isms that you're trying to share in your book. Again, these are, you could call them lessons. I like to kind of put them all in one page. So I have authors take a blank page, take some time. It could be an hour or a couple of weeks, but take time, write down every specific lesson, takeaway, or authorism that you want the book to convey, and you want the author you want the reader to learn. So be specific. I think an example of like, this book will change your life is not really it. I would kind of add to that sentence, like, this book will change your life because you are going to be snacking. I don't know. You're going to eat pecans. I don't know why I'm thinking about snacking, but just go with it. Just think about a lesson. Think about all the lessons, be very clear. And it could be 20, it could be 5, it could be 250, whatever that number is, write all of them down. And I would kind of put it aside for a moment, go back to it, read each lesson out loud. And when you read them out loud, you'll notice similarities in some of the lessons, and you'll also, you'll be able to pair them together. So when you pair them together, you'll notice that those either become chapters, they'll become sound bites for media and publicity for future when you're promoting the book. Also, they'll be really great takeaways for maybe other books that you're going to write. You'll be able to see patterns. And so think about, if you're just starting on the journey of your book concept, writing these down and being very clear will really help you specify who you are as the author, and also what you're trying to convey. And really, it's also, I had an author actually write a complete manuscript. She did the exercise of writing lessons out. She kind of put the manuscript aside. She did the exercise of writing the lessons out, rewrote the entire manuscript with the audience in mind and with the lessons. And it turned into a major bestseller. So I'm just saying, it can happen if you really reorganize it a little bit and think about your authorisms and what you're trying to convey. This next one, this is the third piece of the blueprint, which I think is this one right here is underutilized, and it's almost like the most crucial. Comp titles, comparable works. So right off the top, I'm just going to say, comparable books, nothing compares to your book, right? Nothing compares to your book that you're working on right now. But we have to understand the past successes, because with that comes an audience that's already existing for your book as well. Your audience is defined as very clearly, uniquely to you. You also could have a comparable work that is just as important and successful as yours is going to be, and it's already come before you. So you can really see how successful they were, what they did. So I have authors do really clear research on 3 to 5 titles that have published that are similar to yours in the last 3 to 5 years. So think about it in 2 categories. One is who, as the author, as a platform, look at authors that are similar to yours. And then the second one is look at lessons and or the genre or the category that's similar to yours. So it's 2 types of research that you're going to be doing, and you're going to look at you as an author and see like how successful previous works were that were current, and then also the topic and the category. You're, again, like, past successes are crucial for selling and also for bookstores. So be honest with yourself. I mean, I have authors, that have said their book is like, the next Brene Brown's or the next Michelle Obama's. Great. If you're a psychologist and, researcher, wonderful. Brene Brown, that's for you. You can do that one. If you're the first lady, or if you were the first lady, great. I'd also look at, like, her platforms may be a little different than yours. Michelle Obama's platforms and yours, not a big deal, but let's really refine what that book is, right? Like what your book is and how it compares to Michelle Obama's latest book. Again, you could also do, like, my book is 2 books if it kind of sits in 2 categories. My book is, Eat, Pray, Love meets Million Little Pieces. Again, I just pulled those out there, but just go with it. You can also use 2, but really do some research, take some time, go to your public library, go on Amazon, go to Barnes & Noble, any store, any local independent store that's near you, look through similar titles. And I think this will really help, refine what your book is. And also, again, it's a community of people. So you could maybe potentially reach out to that author if you think that would be something that would be great to do. Well, here we are. Here's what I want every author to know. You should write your book now. And in terms of getting started, now's the time. I think books matter. Your voice matters. Books are meaningful. And I think that I always tell authors, like, it's a beautiful experience. books do stand test the time, and they are so global, and to see your book written in a different language is incredible. So I do think the process, don't ever stop writing. I also think, remember the balance of these 3 things that I were telling you about: the audience, the comparable titles, and the lessons or authorisms. Be remembering the balance of like you as creating an art, and also your audience that you're trying to convey, you're trying to share your message with. Be really mindful of those 2 kind of scales of how to really publish a book correctly, and create a schedule for yourself that you're able to articulate time in your schedule to write. It's really important. Some people write at night, some people write early in the morning, some people write throughout the day. If you have a weekly schedule or a monthly schedule, just make sure to block that time in. I have authors that just take days off of their months and just write. I also have authors that just do it again in the morning every day. But be consistent with it. I think it's very important. It's a wonderful skill to have. And we all have it, by the way. We all can write, so we should keep doing it. Also, I think some authors take years to write something, and some authors take just moments. So all it matters is that you feel ready, and when the time is right, you'll be able to write because you have the schedule to. But it's okay if you're kind of stunted for a moment and you need to take a moment to maybe move on to something else before you dive back into your book. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this. I have really loved talking, and I think for me, what I want to say as a final thought is you're not alone. This is a community. If you need help, reach out. Writers need writers, support each other. Nothing compares to your book, so there is no competition. But it is something that, again, we can champion you, and we can help you as an author become successful. And I'm looking forward to hearing more of your ideas and collaborating with you. And I would love to know more about your idea. Thank you so much for this time. And again, I hope you've learned from the blueprint the 3 things that you need to learn, which again is defining your audience, the lessons or the authorisms, and the comparable titles. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about your project. Thank you all so much for being here. Oh, and we're going to take some questions too for the live people. Okay, so thank you for this question. If my book is self-published on Amazon, does this mean I am not able to then find a publisher? That's correct. If your book is self-published on Amazon, it is also copywritten. So finding a publisher after that will be challenging because your existing title is already out there. And once it's out there, it's out there. So one of my other little fun facts is, in addition to books takes time, is this is the book you should focus on. So I always think, like, if you're writing a book that there's, say 3 ideas you have, focus on one of them. And that's where the lessons come in, when the blueprint, like to really refine your lessons, will help you understand what book rises to the top and what book you need to focus on, as opposed to, trying to publish on self-publish on Amazon and then go down another route with another book. Or the same book. It's really difficult. So I would just stay the path. If you've published a book on Amazon, stay on that Amazon track with this particular title that you're working on, and also reach out to me because I can help you with your becoming a bestseller. I have another question too. Let's see. If my book is self-published on Amazon, oh, sorry, here, I found another one. Thank you. Okay. You mentioned that we need a platform in order to be set up for success. Where is the best place for me to build my platform or following, and how big does it need to be? Okay, thank you for this question. So the first is, platform is to be successful. I think your platform is you, so it's very unique to you. It's very individualized. Again, I mentioned kind of like being the first lady of the United States of America. Some people are going to be able to achieve that. Also, that platform's different than yours. So really think about your network. Think about if you're on social media, think about your social media network and pulling in that platform as kind of you're establishing your foundation of who you are and who you're going to communicate with. I'd also think, look at your previous address books, or even on your emails. If you have emails of people, kind of pull that together. That's where your platform is. And to answer your other question of the best place for me to build my platform and following, again, building on your own addresses and your own contacts. Also, how big does it need to be? There is no limit to how big it needs to be. I think it's really, again, creating a foundation of who you communicate with. I've had authors have no social media following whatsoever, but have massive, massive success with pulling in and communicating with their emails just via email. And I don't think they have more than 1,000 people, 1,000 friends, or 1,000 email addresses, but they're really able to create a relationship because they've written something unique that people have really connected with. So yeah, no, I don't think it needs to be big, but it needs to be fruitful for you, and it needs to serve you. So yeah, I think this was really wonderful. If there's any few more questions, I am happy to, please email me. Again, Ask Me Anything is always opened. I love sharing my opinions. And please follow us on Instagram and Book Talk. Book Talk's huge. Thank you for technology. And I look forward to hearing more about your idea and concept. And please let us know. Reach out to us. Thank you so much for joining.